So now Derek, we'll just start north-south just to show you what I want to show you, and then we'll go from there. So we'll do 2 different grip variations here, right? So I'm on the bottom, and Derek gets to north-south with 2 unders, and he's here. This is a very common position, right? So from here, he's on his knees, and his hips kind of up, right? And he's just trying to control me. I'm going to force myself back into cross-side now. So I'm going to take my right arm, and I'm going to bring it inside and grab his hip here. And then I'm going to start to turn myself. It doesn't really matter what he does with his right hand, but oftentimes guys will just reach back over. And then from here, I'm going to try to get him down a little bit, and I'm going to be looking to get my hand inside, right? So I'm here, and I'm going to get my far hand onto his elbow, right? I'm going to kip and build to my elbow here. And I'm C-clamping the back of his elbow, and then I'm going to post up to my hand, and then as he tries to face me, I'm just going to slide out and end up back in butterfly guard, right? But we can swish our legs too, like we've been doing, right? I can push him away and end up in like a front headlock too. But if he's in north-south with double unders, especially if he's on his knees, it's really easy. I'm just gonna start to turn. I might block here, build up, get to my hand, and start sliding out and like facing, okay? Let's go ahead and try that. 1, 2. Post, my head is high. I don't want him to like step over me and put me back in north-south. So my height is above his hip line, right? Now I'm up, and I'm just gonna pull my legs, swisher them, boom. As he turns in, I end up in that front headlock, okay? So let's add those elements real quick. Let's make sure we're doing it right. I'm watching half of you guys are doing in between an elbow push and a Y escape. It's different. I'm here, I'm longer on the lever. I have to use less strength, and it's less brute force. The other thing is, he's high. I need to get him a little bit lower. And then I'm gonna rock and pop up, and I'm gonna have my head position up, right? Build to my hand, and I start to pull away. But let's get our legs out of the way, because he's looking at them right now like I wanna break them, right? So, as I get to my hand, I start pulling away. Those legs come behind me. And I start to finish, okay? But don't do that part. Just go to the front headlock, okay? Let's go 1, 2. And cross side again. So that's cool. We went over that this week, right? So I start to work, and I start to turn, and I get here, and he's like, I'm going to cross face him. I'm just going to catch, and I'm going to go anyway, right? So when we're here, if he tries to cross face, I'm just going to catch, and I'm going to start to work anyway, okay? So now top guy just try to grab the cross face, and we've been catching that inside tie on all the guard passes. The number one thing you have to deal with when someone passes your guard is the head and arm. They're going to have an underhook, and they're going to have a cross face on you. So the more that we can prevent that from happening, so I'm pushing on the hip, that hand comes up, I'm just catching it, and I'm going anyway, okay? Let's go 1, 2. Himself into cross side. Mike tries to grab, no, go back. Mike tries to grab a cross face. We're going inside tie. We force it through. We start building up. As we slide out, Derek's going to use, see the trail leg that's stuck under still? He's going to do a swisher, but he's going to catch that arm on the way up. He's going to drape over the back, and he's going to sink the choke in from here. When someone's in, go back 1 step. So when someone's in referee's position, typically their chin is not tucked against their chest. They're looking to like kind of like get their head up. It's a really good time to throw the choke in. So he's going to go elbow deep, and he's going to just go rear naked choke wrong way. And if Mike starts to bail and roll, Derek's just going to follow him and get the finish there. Okay, so you don't have to go all the way to where like you got the crucifix completely. You're just getting that first arm, and you're going to take the chin, the neck when it presents itself, right? So inside tie, force him through, trail leg, come up to your knee. We're in the crucifix, set the choke. He tries to bail, and we just stay with it. Just tuck your head and roll with him. Like you'll end up on your back in that choking position. So one more time. He forces himself into cross-side. We go with the inside tie. We clear, start to come up, slide, catch the crucifix, put that choke in there. And then get some reps at actually squeezing your partner, okay? Like actually make them tap. Again, with pretty much all chokes. I mean, really, like we talked about it at the Southwest location last night. I'll ask you guys, what is the #1 role of a jiu-jitsu athlete that belongs to the academy? What's the #1 role? Anyone? What's your #1 job? No, it's your role, like your role. Like what's your job title? Well, that's good too, yeah. But the #1 position that you can take unappointed would be Mike when Derek is showing the technique. That's called the uke. It's the guy that's doing the technique on you. How do you know if you're a good uke? When you come to the class, if you never have to ask someone to be your partner. You're just standing there and 10 guys are like, hey, let's partner up. And you're like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm going with Mike today. That means that you're a good uke. Think of guys like Spencer, for example. Everyone wants to drill with Spencer. You guys could answer that question yourselves right now. Like if Spencer walked up to you at the beginning of the class and was like, hey, you want to be my partner? What would you guys say? You guys would be like, fuck yeah. But then there's other guys in here that are just tense and they just fall weird and they act weird. And then they're always standing there and they're the third guy in the group a lot of times, right? If that applies to you, it doesn't mean you're fucked up. You either just smell or you just haven't figured that part out, you know? But, the uke is like the #1 role, right? And when you have a good uke, you don't want to just jump on chokes and like fuck him up because then he's not going to want to drill with you anymore, right? But this leads to the whole point. When you're making a choke or you're like tapping somebody, we can get these sudden taps like from Choi bar. Like you put a Choi bar on somebody like in competition, it's 0 to broken. Like when you put it on, you're trying to catch them when you're still like on your side before they roll through. So it's like wham, bang, and you're just gonna try to break it, right? But in general, every other submission, you're trying to like apply braking force with control and movement, right? Think of like skateboarding. Skateboarding's evolved into the harder, the more difficult the trick, the more effortless the good skaters try to make it look. Like they almost look like a little pissed off. Like they hit like that little Japanese kid, he did something on the stairs that like had never been done. He's like 14. And he's just like, and then he gets, and he like rolls off and he kicks the board up and he gets it in his hand and he's not screaming and yelling. It was like he meant to do it. He was like, yeah, of course I did that. And he just looked like mildly amused, you know, but it was so cool that, and when I was a kid skateboarding, everything was aggressive and hard and you were like fucking tense. So like when you put on a choke, you're creating a hydraulic illusion, just like in that north-south. Like I throw it on and before I even start squeezing people, they're tapping, right? Whereas if I locked it in, I start squeezing hard, he'll tough it out. Like if I take a rear naked choke and I go 100% right away, he knows that my arms are gonna gas 3 seconds before he goes to sleep. That's just how it works, right? And I'm squeezing and and then my arms get tired and I let it go. And then when the round's over, I'm like, Derek, was that rear naked choke close? He was 5 seconds away from going to sleep. And you know what he's gonna tell me? He's gonna be like, fuck no, that was pussy. Right? Even though he was about to go, but I let go first because I started squeezing hard too soon, right? So when we do this, when we get to the rear naked choke, demonstrate one more time. So when we get to this crucifix and we get to the rear naked choke here, Derek's gonna have hydraulic pressure. It's gonna start just locked in, freeze. He's not squeezing at all. He's just hanging on the neck. Now he's gonna go 5%. Mike's gonna start to panic. He's gonna roll. Derek's at like 10%. And now he's wearing Mike down. And you wanna create the illusion, like when I put a head and arm on somebody, I create the illusion that there is no end to my squeezing. I've got you panicking at like 20% squeeze. You're already feeling like, fuck, dude, I'm gonna go to sleep. And then I just go, and you tap long before I hit 100%. Whereas if you start at 100% and I can feel your arms are tense and your hands are shaking, I know you're squeezing me 100%, so then the shot clock turns on. 24 seconds on the clock. All I gotta do is hang out for 24 seconds, and I mean, I'll even fade to black a little bit. Like, I'll be getting choked, and Mike does this to me all the time. He chokes me unconscious a lot with triangles, like a lot. And I'll be like, and I'm like looking through blackness and I can barely see Luca and I'm like, fuck. And then he makes an adjustment and it comes back and I'm like, fuck, okay, I'm good. And then, and I'm like, there's Luca, I can see him, and I'm back. And then like the second or third time I go out, you know, but you gotta flirt with death. You got to. Like if shit's not gonna break on me, there's no way I'm tapping. If I'm not getting something broken, I am not tapping. You get me in a rear naked choke, I'm probably going to sleep. It'll be like if you're kind of on my throat and I can feel something in there cracking, I'll tap from that. But if it's pure blood choke, I'm toughing it out. And then what's gonna happen is either I'm gonna get out and tell you that it was a pussy choke and it wasn't close, or Mike's gonna be holding my feet and I'm gonna be looking up at him and we're gonna be laughing. And it is like a free nap. I'll be tired as fuck. I barely sleep and I get in here and I'm tired and I go to sleep and then I wake up and I'm like, fuck yeah, I feel good. It's like free drugs. And I don't do drugs, so that's all I get. But when I did have people all the time. So imagine you're just driving down that road at night, no lights, and you see lights coming at you and they're not getting out of the way and you fucking brace for impact and the car hits you and you end up in the hospital with like broken arms, broken legs, your neck's all fucked up. Maybe you die, but if you don't die, you're gonna be really fucked up when you see that car coming. You're gonna tense up and try to like brace for impact, right? The driver's drunk as fuck, just not really paying attention. They fucking take the same impact you do and they walk away from it. The reason is because they're loose. They're just drunk and loose and they're just like fucking like in the car and they just get out without a bruise on them. They kill the whole family. The same goes for jiu-jitsu. So like when you're training, the more tense you are, the more opportunity for athletic injury, you know? But if you're kind of like that sticky, kind of pliable, you're gonna be tense in certain situations. Like for me, any kind of scrambling situation, I'm just kind of loose and pliable and I'm trying to find my connection. And as soon as I sweep you and get on top, boom, that's when I get like tense and I hold. But I'm not being tense in wrestling situations. Like when I'm standing and wrestling, like you'll get a collar tie and you'll be tense on that collar tie. But once the shot comes in, I'm more just like trying to drape and just kind of trying to be heavy more than tense, right? Because if you're tense and you try to post, you're gonna blow your shoulder out or break your arm, right? So let's make sure that like when we're rolling, Russ was saying that like he's trying to be like more like that because the busier you get, the older you get, you got a family you're balancing, you got a career you're balancing. You're fucking robbing Peter to pay Paul in order to do jiu-jitsu, right? It's like, fuck, I work 10 hours a day. I commute an hour each way. I got to take my kids to practice. I got to do this. I got to do that. Next thing you know, you're like 18 hours a day busy. And then it's like you got to be a husband to your wife or your girlfriend. And then you got 6 hours to sleep. And then you want to play Call of Duty for 2 hours. Now you got 4 hours to sleep. And you got to fit jiu-jitsu in there somewhere. So like how do busy people fit jiu-jitsu? They steal from sleep. That's what they do. And then you do that long enough and then you start making bad decisions. And that's where injury comes in. It really does. And so like the more you could play jiu-jitsu, like Steven Martinez, he's a stud athlete. He owns Peerless Jiu-Jitsu in Corona. He feels like a butterfly when he's on the bottom. Like he's a big, thick dude. He used to fight at 155, but he's at least like 220 now, just jacked. And when you're on top of him, you cannot get any structure with him. Like his arms are not like this, so you can just dig an underhook and take an arm bar. He's just really kind of like this. And then when he's on top of you, he feels like an 800-pound gorilla. It's the weirdest thing. He is like literally two different people. When you're passing on top, he's like Mikey Musumeci. He's just like, you know? And then when he's on top, he's like fucking Cyborg. He's just like on top of you. And so you guys got to know when to be tense and when to be loose. And most of these chokes, you're going to be better off if you're just kind of pliable and loose and you start applying that squeezing force that is hydraulic. Okay, you guys understand what I'm saying? Last thing, jiu-jitsu is the space in between technique, same as music is the sound in between the notes. The notes aren't the music, it's the sound that when you play the note, that reverberation that just keeps going, that's the actual music, it's not the note, right? And so like if you're thinking that jiu-jitsu is the technique, you're all wrong. Jiu-jitsu is the space in between the technique, and that's what I want to look at today, okay? And I'm really going to be critical. We're going to be doing some promotions like really quick, and I'm really going to be critical of a lot of you guys. I want to see you guys actually doing jiu-jitsu, okay? Let's go, 1, 2.